All right. So, check here. I don't see anything going on here. Nobody checking in. All right, folks. I guess I'm talking to myself, so that's fine. All right, so I guess I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I wanted to go over the 9 layers of the PartikE within the Torin. This is all in preparation for the ceremony for the activation of the Torin. For those who may be interested in that, I'm thinking about a week. I'll have it available on Patreon, but it will only be available to those who are members. And eventually I'll make it available to the public, but I don't know when. And so prior to going through the ceremony, there's a lot of preparation for it. And I tried to condense it down to the most important parts so that your intention can be clear with what you're doing, because that's the whole point. It's not a matter of just going through something. There has to be a very specific intent behind what you're doing, and it's important for you to know what you're doing. So that's what this is for. It's preparation. So I'm going to just first start off again with what the Tauren is and its fundamental aspect. It is the Ekasha. The Ekasha, we have three tones making up what the Ekasha is, and the Ekasha is the source seed code. So this is our personal Ekasha. This is in connection to our multidimensional anatomy. It is the center or the core aspect of our multidimensional anatomy that connects within the Azare, which connects directly to the monad. And for those that don't know what that is, I don't have the time to go over that specifically because all that's been covered. Materials, workshops, that type of thing has already taken place with all that. If you're interested in about this more, you can contact me directly through my email. My links for my website and just overall areas where I can be contacted will be found within the description of this video, as well as any other video on my channel. So the Tauren, Ekasha. So Ek, the tone, is the void or the PartikE or still point, divine source Manu, as it's referred to, Manu energy, which is the unisign, which is the point of all union, which is the first creation vibration, thought, intention. Ka, which is pre-light, which is oscillation of the PartikE, of the triune expression of the Ekasha. The oscillation, also referred to as the divine masculine or the Mane energy. Sha is the pre-sound, that is vibration. This is the PartikE. The PartikE is the copy or duplication of the first creation vibration, thought, intention. So when you think of the first creation vibration, thought, intention as being the Manu, also think of it as being the PartikE. The PartikE is the inversion or equal opposite expression of the PartikE. And again, the PartikE being the vibration, also referred to as the divine feminine, and it is called the Ire energy. All right? So the Rushe of the source seed code, or the core aspect of the code of the Ekasha, is the balance of the electrical and magnetic forces. This is what we're going to be looking at in regard to the PartikE, which is, again, the Torin, which is the key aspect of our multidimensional anatomy. Okay. As you can see in front of you, there is a two-dimensional image of that. You have it's divided in what is referred to as being cells, okay? This is, again, to be seen as the Ekasha, or if you've seen a two-dimensional image of the PartikE, all right? Now, we have cell 1 to the far left, cell 2 at the top, and cell 3 to the far right, and in the center we have the cell number 4. Cell number 4 is referred to as being the PartikE. Okay, this is what we're going to focus on for this. Cell number 1 is the Mane backflow current, primal force currents And cell number 2 is the etheric backflow. Okay, this is in reference to the monad. Cell 3, the ere backflow. Okay, and cell number 4 is the manu. Well, this is also referred, again, obviously, as the PartikE. Okay. All right. If anybody's there, could you please check in and comment in the comment section? Hopefully this is running live. I don't see any response through anybody showing up here. Okay, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and go through this, and I'm just going to go through it. All right. Give me a second here. It'll be of some use to somebody. All right, so before I begin this, I want this to be clear with what I'm doing here. We're focusing again on the Ina cell number 4, which is the PartikE, and we're going to look at the 9 layers. Okay. All right. Hi, Daphne. You're the only one here. You're the only one watching. And I've been on for about 15, 20 minutes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, switch to the first image, and this is the outer surface of the PartikE. Okay, this is the thermogelesic Inaka outer surface, also referred to as Enoch, like the name Enoch. It's spelt differently, but it sounds like that. All right. So just to emphasize again, I'm going through the layers and giving you an overall summary of what this is in connection to the tones, because everything is held together by vibration. So everything has a signature in relationship to the vibration that creates the form. And the form has the intention within it, or code that has the function. So tones are extremely important when you actually go within the construct untethered from this vessel. That's how you're going to be communicating. That's how things are communicated through. And it's through an intention, and it's through the thought, because it's about thought. But thought is a vibration, okay, which is the intention of the vibration or thought determines the outcome of what's being produced through the individual as well as collectively in regard to creating, period. Intentional creation, such as the structures that we have within this universal construct. All right, so I'm going to have to juggle with this here. So you're going to have to give me a moment. All right, so this circle you see, this is the outer surface, all right? This is the outer surface layer. Now we're going to move to the next layer, which is our outer mantle layer, okay? This is the magnogelesic or Maja outer mantle, okay? Now, after I go through this, we're going to go back over these tones, because within the ceremony, these tones are going to be sung, among other things that's going to be done. There's a lot of preparation required before one would enter into the ceremony of activation of the Torin. There's a whole lot of intention that needs to be going on, attention and intention. So this is just covering things so you're familiar with what that is. So if you do choose to be part of that or participate in the ceremony, you'll know exactly what you're doing, and that's extremely important. All right, so should I go over that again? So this is the magnogelesic. The the layers are a gelatinous type of structure, okay? Like a, well, liquid gel type of consistency. So when I use the word gelesic, that's what in reference to. So this is the outer mantle. Let's take a look at the next layer, layer number 3 there. Okay, this is the outer core layer. All right, so this is the hydrogelesic or Tauren. Okay, it's spelled 2 different ways, and for one layer it's spelled Taur, but it's pronounced Tower. Okay, so this is the hydrogelesic Tower outer core. Okay, this is in reference, the meaning of this is the tower of source. And for those that did catch the beginning of this, you know that I'm referring to the source seed code or the Ekasha. All right. So layer number 4. This is the middle surface layer. Okay. And this is referred to as the ectogelesic Jada middle surface. Now, Jada is Jada of Idaun, or Garden of Eden. It simply means the first point from which you come into manifest reality. It is your first station, okay? Not to be equated with the idea of the biblical Garden of Eden, all right? At least that's not the way I interpret it. So, yeah, I'm just going to just continue to go through this. I'm not going to stop, okay? So afterwards, if anybody has any questions and I'm able to answer them, I will, okay? So the 5th layer we have is the middle, it's a lot of words, middle mantle layer, all right? So this is the Christogelesic or Ida, all right? Middle mantle. So the Idaun, we already went over that once in reference to Eden, okay? Again, that's just to, I don't want to belabor this, but we're talking about the entry point into manifest reality, okay? Our first station, our first identity aspect, okay? It's the purest, I guess you could say it's the purest form of who and what we are, the original aspect of self and identity, the love that we've always been. So that's how I interpret this. I don't think of it as the biblical Eden type of thing. I spent 27 years in Christianity. I'm not also happy to look at that. There's truth there, but there's a whole lot of other stuff going on. And I don't like the association of the term Eden with this. I just don't. That's my problem. Let's give me a second here. Kind of navigating through things. So the 6th layer is the middle core layer, okay? This is the cryogelesic tower middle core. Again, we got the word tower, right? The tower of source, the Ekasha. So this is where it's spelt T-A, capital O, capital R. And the word or can mean a few things. In this case, I would interpret it as being light, okay? Because we're talking about, it's a triveka light unit that we're referring to, okay? Veka is in regard to location within the structure, okay, which is manifest reality. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and just move on. Layer number 7. This is the inner surface layer. This is the Nero-Jalisic Jaffa inner surface. This is in reference to the Hall of Souls. It's also referred to as the Guf hollow body. Okay. There's a whole lot more I would like to say about this, but just because of time, I'm going to go ahead and move on. You can always cover these things later. All right, layer number 8 is the inner mantle layer. This is the Proto-Jalisic Adama inner mantle. This is the flame of Adama. Flame, and anytime you hear or see the use of the word flame, we're talking about frequency spectra, because everything consists of that within manifest reality. And so, without getting too involved about what it is in regard to the flame, you could just simply refer to it as being frequency spectra, which is color. Okay? But everything is conscious. This is very important to pull away from this. Everything has conscious intention within it. This is something that's overlooked a lot, that we are in and are part of a consciousness construct. The universe is held together through us, through conscious intent. So everything that is of form is conscious and has very specific intent. Especially when you're looking at the structure here, it's very, very, very clear that this is living aspect of being. It's living aspect of being, which makes it much more important when you go into a ceremony. You realize you're not dealing with static things. You're dealing with, like you would deal with somebody that is very, very close to you. Okay? Like if you have a friend that you've known for a long time, you're not going to talk at them, you're going to talk with them, and you're going to connect with them, right? Because of respect and the bond that you have with them. Well, it's a consciousness construct. So, Proto-Jalisic, the Adama, inner mantle, flame of Adama, Adamic flame of life, okay? And again, to emphasize here, these are the 9 layers. Well, there will be 9 layers here. This is 8 layers in regard to our personal Ekasha, which is the key aspect of our multidimensional anatomy. And within it, you can say this is our station of the first creation, vibration, thought, intention, which we all were participants of. Okay? This is very intimate. But it's with us all the time, and it's as part of what we are. We don't have to earn any divinity. We are divinity. Okay? I know that's like preaching to the choir, but I need to be reminded of this, and I do remind myself of it daily. Our divinity. Okay, so moving on to the next layer here, last layer, which is the core layer. Okay. The inner core layer, as you can see, circles within circles, folks. We've been talking about that, at least I have been talking about that for a long time. I see everything that way, and everything is that way. Everything's inward. And the manifest reality is the expression of the intention, again, reference to the universe or universes or constructs. They're held together by intent. So layer number 9 is the Carbo-Jalisic, the Nadaor. Now, the Nadaor is in reference to the diamond doorway. This is the first creation point of the atomic door, or the entry point into manifest reality again. Same thing. First creation, vibration, thought, intention. All the code, all the intent is found within that. And this is just an unfolding of that. And it can become quite complex. In fact, it is quite complex, but it's all the same intention. It just has multi aspects of unfolding of itself according to function to facilitate the God sentient being's experience of experiencing self differently, especially in these outer worlds. So this is a, just refer why is it called the diamond doorway? It's because of the compressed carbon crystal aspect of the structure. The compressed carbon crystal, which is diamond, that's a diamond. That's the reason why it's called the diamond door, or the diamond doorway. Okay. All right. So that's that. That's all I really wanted to cover with that. The next thing I wanted to, oops, there's somewhere here, I know. I wanted to go over the tones with you. Okay, so as I had mentioned earlier, there within the ceremony, you're going to be communing through toning. Okay, and these are you're toning the layers of the PartikE. Okay, again, we're talking about, at least I am talking about an intimate command, recognizing. It's like when you recognize something, part of yourself that you hadn't realized for a long time ago, and you have this remembrance within you of your true self, and it's like it's always been there, but it's like, wow, it's refreshed type of feeling, you know? It's like, oh, that type of thing. This is really what's taking place. This is the way I perceive it. This is the way I think of it. And with intoning these aspects of layers within the PartikE, it's engaging, and for lack of terms, it's activating it by engaging it. Because as soon as you consciously are aware of something, it begins to engage, because that's how things work. It's the way energy works. It's the way thought works. Okay? So I'm going to go over the pronunciation for this, because if you plan on being part of the ceremony, you're going to be able to need to pronounce this and sing it. And it's phrased in such a way that it's a tongue tire. Okay, you can tie your tongue up because of the way that it's phrased. So I'm going to break it down for you, if you don't mind. Inaka, Maja, Tauren, Iuka, Ketha, Jada, Ida, Tauren, Iuka, Etha, Shafa, Edamanadaor, Itorna, Atma. Okay. It's the way it's spelt. A lot of this, the way it's spelt, makes it look like it's separate from one another, and it can be confusing. And it took a while for me to kind of go, wait a second, that's not right. So I thought to phonetically write this out to where it actually, the way that it's pronounced rather than the way it looks, because the way it looks a lot doesn't really connect to the way that's pronounced. But that's the proper way. I'm going to go back over it again, but I just wanted to emphasize a few words here. I have a rough translation for what those few words are in case you're interested in that. But all this that you see here is what I just went over in regard to the layers, because these are the layers, right? These are the tones of the layers. And again, tones is what holds everything together, meaning vibration, which is thought, and the intention behind that before the thought is manifest. Okay, so I'll go over this one more time, then go over those three words that you may not be familiar with at the end. Inaka, Maja, Tower, Iuka, Kesa, Jada, Ida, Tower, Iuka, Etha, Jaffa, Edamanadaor, Itorna, Atma. Okay, so I wanted to go over Kitha, Etha, and Atma. Now, Atma is not to be confused with the Vedic term, which means soul. That's another word for soul in that script, Sanskrit. Atma is a word that is used for soul, that we would refer to in English as soul. Anyhow, so Kitha, my rough translation for this, because it's always about context. Okay, if you want to look to translate some of the stuff that you're not familiar with, you can do it as long as you understand the context, because it's always focusing mostly on eternal aspects, you know. So, fully now my blueprint be. Etha, my first vibratory imprint. Atma, I be renewed. Okay. So, I guess I'm pretty much done with that. Let me go to another camera here. There we go. All right. So that's it, folks. That's all that I planned on doing today. Within about a week or so, last night I spent time recording the music and trying to mix it. I have yet to put vocals down on it. And then I'm going to be doing voiceover and explaining things prior, and put it into a video to where it can be like a guided session, because it seems to be the best way for me to be able to do things at this point. I prefer to be able to do something like this, or anything that I've done over the last several years, in person within the same room, but you know, that's just not that's not the thing at this point. Plus, you know, it is what it is. So it's taken a while for me to get around to doing this. I wanted to add more to it because there's a lot more that needs to be done, like such as the soul song that I've been talking about for such a long time. I wanted to incorporate that in this because I've seen it as being so essential, and eventually I will. But at this point, no, I won't, because it just takes up a lot of time, and there has to be a lot of endeavor on my part being focused on that, because that's a very intimate thing, and it's not something that I find so easy to go about teaching somebody else to do, at least through video. The primal life force currents, and I've been talking about this for a while, the primal life force currents runs differently or functions differently within the digital domain, which we're dealing with right now, than it does in the so-called analog. It's different. It is different. It feels different. It's hard for me to explain it. I can give an example through an abduction scenario that I had, and I experienced digital in contrast to analog, and there is a big difference between the two. They're like night and day, and meaning that they're just so different. It's obvious once you know what it is, but I do know this, and I'm not the only one who knows this. Preston Reed not Preston Reed. What's Preston? Nick, Nick, Preston Nichols. Confusing him with another Preston, which is no longer, he's no longer with us. He's a scientist and just wonderful person. He knew this very well as well. He knew it very intimately, and he initiated it. He initiated me because I had him cross my path again to remind me of the things that I had forgot or got preoccupied with other stuff. I, there was a whole lot of things going on, and I didn't understand why. And because sometimes you just get overwhelmed because of just trying to do whatever you're trying to do and survive and blah 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 blah. Point is that there was a whole lot of tension going on with this online thing that I've been doing, and he crossed my path and it reminded me that the primal life force currents do not flow through a digital domain the same way they do through an analog domain. And I'm going, okay, there it is. Now I know. So I do what I can, but I know what it's capable of doing. It's mostly what you find is residual effects within the digital domain. There's exceptions, but not a whole lot. You have to bypass a lot of stuff, and it's still working through a digital domain. It's something I don't want to talk about anymore because I said too much about it. All right, there it is. So, Sally, Savannah, Daphne, let me see who, anybody else here? Nope. All right, so I'm going to go. I'm going to leave you with my soul song, or should I say a spirit song. It's an improvisation. And to give you an idea because none of this was, this soul song, okay, it's not a composition. It can become a composition, but that's not where it comes from. It's like the same way in which I had written the Italian version for The Love That We've Always Been, if anybody knows that story. This is another version of that, which is a new song. It's always about the new song, and your soul song is always a new song. That is your song, and uniquely your song. So teaching that, not so easy to do through the digital domain. That's the reason why I brought that up. Okay, so thank you, folks. I'm going to close out with this, and probably later on this week, I may be recapping a few things and going over some stuff. It depends, but I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.